Hello everybody, how's it going? Happy Saturday. Eee, that's a cat. The cat with a lot of needs. Alright, let's get some sound going, and let's put the cat cam up. There he is, there we go. I already patted the catto, you literally watched me! I saw you watching me! I even let him bear trap me this time, because sometimes it's a bear trap, but usually he wants you to rub his belly. Squeezing your riblets. What are you gonna do about it? Pato more Madge. You pato him! Mama, don't knock that over. I'm gonna be sad if you knock it over. There you go. Don't knock this over either. Uncontrollable. This cat is uncontrollable. And he's delaying the stream. That's how he does. Alright, Momo. Alright. Oh, that's not boop. That's boop. Boop. Good boy. Alright, everybody. Hope y'all are having a great week. It's time for more Ace Attorney. We're gonna be starting episode 4. Called The Twisted Karma and His Last Bow. Did we watch the opening? I don't think we did. I think we should just select the adventure and watch the opening. Wait, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold up, go back. No, maybe it is this way. I don't know. Alright, let's just do it. Load me in. Oh, there we go. It was indeed a most bizarre incident born of a curious advertisement and a commonplace killing at the edge of town.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder. An executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night.
That's the one we just did.
And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town.
There was murder going on while we were investigating our murder?
Another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant.
Who would have thought?
And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
You hear that, Momo? The game's afoot. This is your feet. That's your foot. Eight days after that earth-shattering trial and Cosma regaining his memory. Oh yeah, the dude just like, I got my memory back, Bolts. Hello? Hey, it's been a while. We haven't seen you. We thought you were dead. You want to catch up? No? Alright, bye. That's what happened. That was basically what happened. Momo, can you not, like, be rubbing your face on- Stop doing that! I'm trying to bite the XLR cable. Hello, can I help you? Help himself. We were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. 1st of November, 10:24 a.m., the Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. Professor Miko Toba is due to arrive at any moment. Oh yeah, he's coming, I forgot! Yes, I'm so glad we got here in time. Why are you sad? Sasato hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. Don't rub your face on that. What are you doing? Okay. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Do you suppose my father knew? Probably. And he was actually the mass murderer of the professor, you mean? I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that Professor Mikotoba knew about Cosma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows then. About Cosma showing up here in London with amnesia, and that he's regained his memory now. What else, some kind of like international secret service? Ah, there she is! Oh, father! He looks very, very different. Who's this? That's her dad, right? Who's this? Oh wait, that's the judge! Oh, God, he was coming because they're frenzies. Anyway, cat's gone. Hello, Susato, how are you? I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you've arrived safe and sound. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. Oh no, not at all. It's my pleasure. We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. It has? I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with the steamships from Britain. Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man? And why do I feel as though I've seen him before? It's the judge! I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, how about a little reminder, Seishiro? A firm tap should do it. Oh shit. Yes. A firm tap, what? Gonna get your gavel out? Here we go then. I hereby pronounce the defendant Ryunosuke Naruhodo guilty. Ah. Oh, yeah, your told you it's the judge. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yeah, your Excellency. Hello, Judge Jigoku. Oh, right, Judge Hell. Got it. I remember this now. How are you? It's been a long time. Good, you've remembered now. That really did the trick. Guilty! Don't just go pronouncing people guilty on a whim like that, like it ain't no thing. Hold up, let me... Where are we? That's better. Cat's back. He just headbutt me in the arm. Oh, you guys can kind of see him right there behind my chair. He was like showing up right there for a little bit. Right there. Right there. Anyway, don't joke about calling people guilty. That's kind of rude. Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time? Rude. So, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. Oh, were you there also? They did say 3 exchange students. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. Though really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seishiro? And this cat. Momo. Hi, Momo. What are you talking about, Eugene? Of course, Judge Jigoku. He must complete the set. He's the other man who, 16 years ago, came to London with Kazuma's father and Professor Mikotoba. He's the third visiting scholar. What did I just say? I said that, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That checks out, because there were 3 of them. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Ah, I knew you were jealous. He's very jolly. Sorry, ministerial status? Yes, didn't you know? Seishiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Oh, I don't think that was ever disclosed. No, I don't think we've ever talked about that. Also, I'm a dumb kid. How the fuck would I know? It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's place here on the study tour. Really? Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you. Guilty as charged. Dude, it's not funny. It's like he gets so much delight out of calling you guilty. Oh, well, thank you very much. He's really every bit as important as he looks. Ah, yes, now, naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that some things came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. About what happened 10 years ago. That tragedy. Yes. Could you tell us any more about it? I wanna look around. That is a big old suitcase.
That desk is known as the hotel reception. Anyone wanting to spend the night has to report there to sign in for their stay.
Oh, so do you think the head clerk behind the desk... do you think that's the head clerk behind the desk there?
Yes, I'm sure it must be.
I'd love to stay in a grand hotel like this for a little while, wouldn't you? Just to know what it's like.
If the hotel fee was paid through our stipend, I'm afraid it might bankrupt our homeland.
True. London gives the word expensive a whole new meaning. But he's a minister, so he probably gets to stay here for freezies. Look at that! It's a picture of the Crystal Tower.
Well, the Great Exhibition is one of Britain's most prestigious achievements in recent years. I wonder how tall it is. It really does represent the pinnacle of scientific achievement in so many ways.
There's a 20-meter tall chimney on the bathhouse near my lodgings at Yume University. The attendant there is always boasting that it's the tallest object in the neighborhood.
I'm sure. Did you know that over the channel in Paris, there's a tower that's 300 meters tall?
What? How many times taller than the chimney at Yume's Soaking Hot Springs is that? And if it's that tall, how does it draw properly? The smoke would get stuck, surely. It's not a chimney, it's a tower. Those are not the same thing.
I don't think it's that sort of tower, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ah, Ryunosuke, so naive. Nice chandelier. Have you seen all those sparkling jewels up there? They must have gathered every gem in the world for that. You naive boy.
Ah, it's called a chandelier, I believe. designed to provide elegant lighting in large, spacious rooms like this.
Sorry, I gotta stretch my trapezius once in a while. Okay. So they had to gather every gem in the world just to illuminate one room?
It's probably electric light bulbs that are actually throwing the light.
If I tried to hang something like that from the ceiling in the office, it would be scraping on the floor.
I think perhaps chandeliers aren't for you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Bellcart. Look at those cases just left there on that trolley. Aren't they worried about thieves? I know I am.
Haven't you seen the porter over there? Don't worry, he's obviously keeping an eye on everything.
Ah, so it's a trap designed to catch any chancers who might be tempted. I think that porter's offended. Why did the porter give me such a scathing look just now, do you suppose?
Well, some might say you look a little suspicious with your jet black clothes.
Not everyone clad in black is some sort of ninja with intent to steal, you know. Look at my armband! I gotta show it to everybody! It's a rule! Professor Mikotoba, I wonder, could I show you something? Why do you seem so nervous? I suppose because I'm a student showing something to a professor. That's always quite nerve-wracking. Well, I'm sorry to perturb you in that way, but anyway, I'm afraid I have nothing useful to say about that, really. Let's talk about your journey from Japan. So, how was the voyage here? Well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. It really is. 50 days for anything is quite a long time. But it wasn't as bad as when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience.
Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris?
We did, yes, though only for one night. And yesterday evening we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow.
It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father.
It's thanks to Seishiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to ingratiate himself with Britain's Attorney General. I'm sure that's why he was invited, and I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Eugene. You were close friends with the professor of forensic science at a major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. Cosmo's father, I suppose. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about his dad. The professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, was actually Cosmo's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Asogi. Genshin?
You knew, I presume, Father?
Yes, he was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with a little ado. To this day, very few people know what really happened, even in our homeland. But what about Cosma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was told that his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Oh, why? As you know, I tried to guide Cosma growing up as if he were my own son. Then one day, he came to my office at the university and said, "I've decided. Want to travel to Great Britain and study there."
Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death?
I don't know. But when I looked into his eyes, I did know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him. Something else came to light in that trial the other day, actually. Oh? What? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Cosma has since turned up here in London working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zeeks. What? Oh, you didn't know? I thought he knew. We all thought you knew. What? That's news to us. So, Lord Strongheart's telegram neglected to mention that part then. Oh, the plot thickens. The plot in the pot is thickening. As you know, we both thought Cosma had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January.
But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, Father?
In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. Sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try and ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. He's still alive? Here in London, you say? I never dared even to dream it. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now.
Well, it seems he was suffering from amnesia.
What? Amnesia? Yeah, the convenient amnesia mechanic that a lot of games and movies and TV series use. We'll see how it plays out. When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were. I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago. This is unbelievable. Yes, it's quite miraculous. Wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. Let's speak with him urgently. Wonder how Cosmo's been these past few days. Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him? I guess let's talk about your time in Britain and what you plan to do. Or maybe what you did before. I don't know. That began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really. It was Eugene here, Genshin Asogi, and myself. We were the original three. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today, I can tell you. 16 years ago, things were tough for their generation. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yume University at the time, you know, young lady.
Yes, grandmother told me.
He went to do research at a great London hospital to study autopsy, practically unheard of in Japan. Oh. You studied autopsy, so you probably were familiar with Courtney Sith. Yes, it was an eerie place, sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground. Not more talk of graves. Very often there's no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea at all. You remember that Scottish prison governor? Caden, his name was. He was a good man. Yes, but then of course in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. When Genshin was arrested for a series of the most gruesome murders. Simply couldn't believe it. I'd known the man for years. I was a witness at the secret hearing, and I tried to speak in his defense, but But you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after that trial, we were sent back to Japan. There's nothing more we could do to save Genshin. It was a lost cause, sadly. Well, if you'll excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long.
I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here.
And she's gone. Susato-san's gone off at a run. I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. And now you also need to go talk to Lord Strongheart. Yes, of course. It must be a really big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruhodo. What? I hope you'll keep an eye on Susato for me. Keep looking after her as you obviously have been. Oh, no, I mean, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being there for her. After all, I've been a miserable father to her. I've thoroughly let her down. Sorry? What do you mean? Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Susato was born. Yes, I heard. Birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh, yes, Susato-san hinted at something like that.
It was a rather turbulent time at home.
Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. Did her mom pass away? Is that why? The point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man. And it was then that Seishiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I was too worried about you to leave you behind, so perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. For the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. Ah, one other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course. What can I do for you? Well, the thing is,
So sorry that took so long.
Miss Susato.
Now then, allow us to take your bags.
Allow me to take your bags. One moment, if you please, Porter. Of course, sir! That machine around your neck. It's a camera, I believe. Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay at the hotel, sir. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Ah, yes, of course! Yunosuke looks so nervous. He's like,
I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really made Father very happy, I think.
Oh, well, I'm pleased then. But we were interrupted before. Professor Mikotobo was about to ask me something.
Shall we return to Baker Street then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us.
Yes, let's go. I'm getting more and more anxious about Kazuma, though. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. Yes, of Lord Strongheart. The office of Lord Chief Justice Strongheart in Britain's great capital city, London. Its grand stone architecture and the echoey tick of the vast cogwheels lend it an air of authority. Let's just see if he's in. Let's just pop over and see if he's in. Oh, would you look at that? He's talking about to Barrack. 1st of November, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. I've supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zeek's doing here?
Hi, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say?
This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. Hello. My apologies. I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress make you all but invisible to me. Rude! That's a backhanded statement. Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. Don't take that. Don't take that from him.
From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come here.
Now then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord, I'm right here. Kill me now. Something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you. Oh no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced a room at such a perfect temperature. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. I don't know why you're so aggressive with me right now. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear, madam.
Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited.
And we kind of discredited his top forensic science officer, Courtney Sith. So he's probably a little peeved at us. Oopsies. I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands then, Lord Van Zeeks. I will attend at once. What? What's wrong? What? What'd I do?
Gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. What the fuck, man? I know, but I haven't done anything, have I? Other than just, you know, like, the whole thing with Courtney Sith, and that probably is gonna piss him off. So. Sorry, there's like hair inside my headphones again. These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service?
Mr. Naruhodo, he's talking about Dr. Sith. I know.
Ah, of course. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, Fear not, you've done nothing wrong. Dr. Sith's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That'd be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me. Lord Van Zeeks is doing an admirable job of holding the fort. Though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Only since yesterday? Where did he go? Oh, missing?
What's become of Kazuma-sama now?
Just sitting behind that desk must make you feel so important, don't you think?
Would you like to have an office like this, Mr. Naruhodo? With such a grand desk?
Who, me? No, I don't think so.
Oh?
Well, imagine if you suddenly found yourself needing to... This is exactly the same convos they had in a previous case.
Perhaps the important people who work in ostentatious offices like this haven't considered such things.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment. As ever, the enormous clock is diligently maintaining its rhythmical tick-tock today.
Watching machinery at work can be quite mesmerizing, can't it? Ironically, you can completely forget about the time. What I particularly enjoy is watching the enormous wheels of a steam locomotive turning. When I was just a little girl, Grandmother often used to take me to watch the railway engines, you know?
It's an open fire for me. I could sit and watch the flames for hours.
Mr. Naruhodo, you could install one in the office. An enormous wheel turned by an enormous steam engine.
Perhaps we could start with a simple fireplace? Couldn't read all these books even if you were reincarnated 6 times over as a bookworm. Same combo. Imagine nothing here will be new, but I want to flag it so it gets the little check mark. Peddlers are always pushing their books on him, and he's like, nah, I can't say no. Lord Strongheart could be really kind, you never know. Okay. That's the suit of armor. I think that's the last thing we have to check off here. I kind of wish that if you checked it in a previous case and it's the exact same convo, that it would keep the check. So that I don't have to do this. But I guess that might be a little bit too difficult to track it between cases. Would be real nice though. That helps you figure out like what's different. Okay. Look at it. Can I show you this, Lord Strongheart? I'm the Lord Chief Justice. I'm not here to offer advice about evidence. Oh. Especially when the evidence in question is so dull. Ah, so that's the real reason. He just doesn't care. Got it. Let's talk about the Forensic Science Symposium. Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world? Yes.
As a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial capital Tokyo is 2 million.
I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. It sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic science investigation techniques. And cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium had to be hosted here at the heart of our great British Empire. In order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization in the New World. He's the same as ever, I see. That passion of his is quite something.
You are every bit as passionate in your own way, I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo.
I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It was my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. So the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. Oof. holding up? I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Sith at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic investigation department. And can you not do that now? Obviously, nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep the story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. There we go. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. Unintended repercussions of our trial, got it.
Simply couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though.
Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policing when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. Alright, let's talk about the missing apprentice. About Lord Van Zeek's apprentice. Ah, yes, that came as a surprise to me, I must say, that you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to Lord Van Zeek's in the first place? It came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel.
Oh my! So he stowed away to get here.
He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia, too. Other than the fact he was clearly of Eastern descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zeek's. That way I could keep an eye on him. But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zeek's with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern apprentice. Okay. Because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask? It's proving to be of great help to Lord Van Zeek's. I have high hopes for his future. By the way, do you know where he's gone? No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being.
Oh.
I take it you also didn't know? That the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean. Genshin Asogi. Cosmo's father's crimes. What we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was... Ah, yes. Genshin Asogi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain.
There were such awful murders, and unprecedented. Using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon.
Wow. So what happened to the dog? And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. So the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and it can't be made public now. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London.
The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time, I understand.
Correct. However, it has to be noted that there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. What? Supporters of a mass murderer? Majority of the man's victims were a blight on the aristocracy of the day. Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Or so a fair few thinkers in London believed, anyway. Right. I see. But it was still murder, wasn't it?
Seems very similar, doesn't it? To the idea of the Reaper of the Bailey.
Yeah, it does. No? Nothing else to say about that. Alright, we gotta go get some more stuff and we'll show them something. Alright, I'll be back. Iris has some tea waiting for us. First of November, Sholmes is sweet. Oui? Huh? What was that?
A man screaming in a most unflattering way.
Do you think... Could it have been Mr. Sholmes?
Oh my, I do hope not. I don't do it anymore.
Mon ami! Stop this disgraceful display, huh? Who are these people? Look at their hair, it's bright red. Like me? Hello, I have bright red hair. Not natural.
I think they must be clients of Mr. Sholmes. What, you two? You're coming with me now, down to the clink. No, not in prison. It is dark and damp, and I don't like it. Oh, the darkness, it is my friend. I am not scared. But you are always scared of the dark. Shut your mouth, idiot. You idiot. I will sit quietly in the dark and plan our next daring heist. I don't like this. I don't like it. Well, tough. We'll finish this dirty yard. Now get moving. Bye then, Ginny. Have fun. Oh yeah, thanks, Iris. And thanks, you great detective.
Inspector Lestrade at it again.
Tina makes such a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie and Bruno.
Hello, Iris. We're home.
Well, did you find your daddy? Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend. Oh, well, that's great news. I hope I'll get to see my daddy again soon.
About that.
Yes, of course.
Dr. John H. Wilson. So, Iris, all that remains now is that greatest of problems known to man. What? We don't have that one dude special limited edition exclusive hair dye thing yet, but here we are. Yeah, okay. What did you do? What did he get into? But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order, don't you, my dear fellows? Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? It's on his eyebrows, too. How? Why? Do I have a crumb or such like on my face? It's not your face. Well, a little on your face. Not so much on your face as on your head, I'd say.
Come along then, everyone. I brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea. Whatever is going on here today?
In that case, let us sit and drink now. I am, in fact, expecting a guest later today. Oh. Cosmo's mask. The mask Cosmo wore when he was assigned to Lord Van Zeeks as his apprentice. When he cast it aside at the trial the other day, I just sort of picked it up.
We ought to give it back to him, I suppose.
But he has his memory back now, doesn't he? And I can't help feeling he might turn around and tell me coldly to wear it myself.
But isn't he your best friend?
Yeah, but something seems off right now. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although, I do yearn for a Japanese kotatsu. Putting your legs under a warm, blanketed table is so comforting.
Do be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't mistakenly put your feet into the fire, will you? You'd suffer terrible burns, you know.
I know, I'm not like that. I worry sometimes about how Susato-san sees me. Ah yes, Mr. Sholmes' curious collection of trinkets from the various mysteries he solved.
It's one of my favorite parts of this room, full of items with such exciting tales to tell. And I do believe he's added to it since I last looked. Now there's a mysterious pinstons, a mysterious little box, a mysterious horseshoe, mysterious biscuit.
I think the last one might just be one of Iris's unfinished snacks. There's all sorts of things on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment.
It looks as though it might topple, and yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Sholmes' brilliance.
I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally gave way under the strain, though.
Looks as though it might topple, and it does. Yes, the epitome of your disarray.
I really don't get it. Finally managed to remember this behemoth's name. The Great Analytoscope.
I don't think it was here when I left for Japan, was it?
Oh, is that right?
Yes, because it was with the pawnbroker.
Ah, of course.
Oh, that's given me a wonderful idea. I could pawn everything that's on your desk. The office would be tidy at last.
Don't even joke about it, Mrs. Sato. You are joking, aren't you? Cat, I do see that the odds are going, so I think we're gonna take a quick break. I need to go get a little something for my neck. It's a little stiff right now. So, we'll be right back. I'll see you guys in just a couple minutes. All right, ERP. Beam on me. Beam on me. When you...
What? It's too strong.
He poured
We
it
all
on.
need
Beam.
someone.
Poopy.
I'm so proud of you all. Is there no formal job training? Do they just throw you into the fire and expect you to swim? No, wait, hold on. Throw you into the ocean and expect you to swim? Sorry, got my things mixed up there. Yes, what is it?
I believe we have found the man to whom the package was intended.
Look, you can swim in fire if you believe. Hey, guys, chat room. I want to point something out to you once we get out of this fight. I'm gonna point something out to you guys, so you'll never be able to unsee it. You see these trees I'm standing next to? Do these trees not look like a really buff dude who skips out on leg day? You're welcome. As a result, I brought this knife so I could shank this bitch next to me if he doesn't fucking give me back my coin. I know he took it. There was no one else there. Bro, what? Bro, what? Excuse me? Anyway, the fact remains, myself, Typical. Most of the time these trees won't stop rustling. But as soon as I need their opinion, then silence is golden. Thanks for the spirit wood. I think you've got some issues that we need to maybe talk about. Ooh, money though.
Oh shit, me. Go into one.
Choco, go to 2.
We're moving.
Oh my gosh.
I got at white.
Oh fuck, I'm dead. I can't.
Got it. Good shot.
A little early.
I got him.
I'm gonna die for Ukmorn here though.
Shit. Oh my god, the 1% is killing me.
Just unload.
Go, 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 go!
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Just unload.
Yes! Oh my god.
Yeah.
What?
Alrighty, chat, I am back. There we go. And the cat is also back, so let's get that set up here. Let me take this, that's for me. Cameras for you. Alright. Picking up right off where we left off. This is Mr. Shums' famous violin. The one he found being sold for a song at a pawnbrokery. What's it called again? A Shota something? Stradivarius.
Oh yes, this wonderful instrument features in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. It's a world famous Stradivarius.
Strata what?
Stradivarius, Mr. Nodhodl.
Stragivor.
Are you even trying now?
We'll come back to this another time, I think. Iris's pretty little tea set is set up beautifully as ever. Look.
Well, it's only by carefully taking care of a tea set that you can make good tea.
Is that a roundabout way of telling me I need to tidy my desk?
Oh, Mr. Nodhodl, you do overthink things at times.
But you're always telling me to clean up my desk. This blackboard is where Iris scribbles down her latest ideas, isn't it? Let's see. Oh, she seems to have drawn a lot of little stick figures all lined up. Look.
Cheap apples at the market is what all of them say.
What? The little figures can speak?
All your questions would be answered if only you would read this month's Ranced magazine.
So I'm the only one who can't make any sense of this.
That's Iris's wonderful collection of medicines, potions, and chemicals. Just look at all the little bottles she squeezed onto the shelves.
Yes, and there are charming little ribbons tied around the bottles too. But the labels aren't quite so charming, are they? This one here reads deadly poison.
Oh, I've been so excited about the idea of helping Iris with her experiments, you know.
Just try and avoid any bottles labeled deadly poison or highly explosive, please. If I remember correctly, this large and imposing lump of iron is called a typewriter.
To think that every single one of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes blossomed from this very machine. It's such a dreamy thought.
I actually had a go on it the other day. The metal bars that move when you hit the keys got all tangled up somehow, and that made Iris angry. What? How did you even do that?
Mr. Naruhodo, you're ruining my dreamy thoughts. Please don't do that again.
Now I've made Susato-san angry as well. Alright, I think that's all. Look at my armband! Mr. Sholmes, about this. Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, is this the first time you've shown me this particular trinket? No. Oh, I don't really remember, to be honest. My saying that it's a colorful breed of miniature canine with a particularly long neck would precipitate a "here we go again" from your lips. We could be sure it was not the first time. Deduction, you see, my dear fellow. Deduction. Got a different convo out of him. Worth it. Alright, let's talk about your two visitors.
Mr. Sholmes, who were those two gentlemen that were here before?
Oh, just a pair of petty criminals, nothing of significance. Of course, they have to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manner of infractions.
When the mood takes you?
All manner of infractions? But when such fellows set their sights on Mr. Herlock Sholmes, well, that's when their luck runs out.
Oh my! You are the target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes.
But I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective ally.
You should have asked Grexy to come too. We could have had an arresting tea party.
I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is consummately in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Aha! I have it! A bungler! That's the word! It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. So those redheads have been up to no good?
I wonder what the men did.
What's the greatest problem? What was that about the greatest of problems known to man that you mentioned before?
Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes?
How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance? Yes. Darwinism. Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere, possibly.
It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops.
Wait, what? We were apes? Indeed, and from the very moment those apes descended from the canopy to live as humans, has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man.
Our lot? What is this great problem, Mr. Sholmes?
Why is it not most obvious, my dear madam, the problem of rent? You need money again? Is that what we're getting at? You need money.
But did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Tuspel's only the other day?
Pshaw, a large sum? One potted herb for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it has quite disappeared, I assure you. The man bought a car before paying his rent. Okay.
Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it.
Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to man's greatest problem, for the coming month at least. What was the answer? Why, there's a substantial clue before your very eyes. Change your hair and pretend you're another person? Is that what you're doing?
Don't tell me. Let's see. Let me see.
Humans are sorry creatures unable to see what is in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There's one particular feature about my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think. In the end? Not, like, immediately? It's been stabbing me in both eyes right from the very beginning of our conversation.
I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Mr. Naruhodo.
Nato-san, please. Why are you like this? Thanks for the hint. I'll be tearing my hair out if this charade goes on much longer. The lie you told. Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us... I'll now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. What'd you lie about now? That case aboard the SS Berdia in January. Cosmo wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So, what was really going on? The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, the side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. It was a simple enough task to silence the crew. But how? After they'd carried him out of the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. And I made them swear to leave him unconscious and have him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse.
Oh, how horrible!
It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course. But why? Why did you do it in the first place? I'll be at liberty to elaborate in due course. For the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events. What events? His disappearance in Hong Kong.
Oh.
I believe I may have made a gross error of judgment. Mr. Sholmes. We need some kind of... We need to find something to show these people to get them to keep talking to us. Alright, 1st of November. Naruhodo's legal consultancy.
Steam is rising gently from the kettle, as always.
Yes, it doesn't feel right somehow unless it is. But the steam has an unusual scent today.
Perhaps the sweet potatoes that I brought back from Japan with me already.
I love roasted sweet potatoes. They're so good. I want some right now.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I heard that, you know.
Tears of joy, Mrs. Sato, from my mouth. God, now I really want roasted sweet potatoes. I might have to see if I can order some from somewhere. The spade is still here, look.
Please, Mr. Naruhodo, it's not a spade, as I think you well know. It's a shovel.
It didn't take long to reignite that old argument.
Ah, I have an idea. Let's give the implement a name, like Professor Harebrained named his tools.
Oh, I never thought of doing that.
From now on, then, let's call it Ryunosuke.
No, it's clearly much more of a Susato. The old argument has taken a new and unexpected turn, it seems. Ha! We found every argument. That's hilarious. Whenever you serve me tea, it always takes me back to Japan.
I know you're not particularly fond of the bitter taste, are you? So I do always try to pick out the less bitter matcha for you.
Oh, that's sweet. It does often serve up unusually mellow blend, it's true. But the anticipation of the taste in my mouth makes me bitterly worried anyway.
It is very difficult for you, isn't it?
You see, I've been keeping my desk beautifully covered up in papers as always.
You really must tidy it all up, Mr. Naruhodo. No more excuses.
But Mrs. Sato, the way I see it, all these papers building up on my desk like this are a reminder of my wonderfully diverse daily life. I'd like to leave them as they are, so I never forget how lucky I am to have such varied experiences.
In that case, you should definitely have a thorough tidy. Then you'll be able to see your papers building up all over again and feel that joy renewed.
Still can't beat her in an argument, even though I'm the lawyer here. The dot on my doll is still winking at me, look. I wonder when he'll finally get his other eye filled in.
Yes, I wonder.
Well, you should know, Susato-san. I entrusted the task to you.
The truth is, I have already decided when that will be.
What? Really? When?
That's my little secret.
Hey! I want to know. What's this?
It's a lovely photograph we took together when I had to leave London. Though it was a sad day. But I happily have the same photograph on display in my room at home, you know.
Now that we're all back together again, it would be nice to take a new photograph.
Oh yes, that would be wonderful.
Your room across the hall is undisturbed, of course. I don't suppose I'd be permitted to see inside now that you're back, though, would I?
You know very well that only Iris is allowed inside.
Yes, I heard you two giggling together in there again last night.
You can visit Mr. Shelmes in his room, Mr. Naruhodo.
Last time I did that, he tried to convince me to drink some strange concoction he'd mixed up. That sounds dangerous.
My desk is just as it was before I left.
Sumi ink and a calligraphy brush, even though we're in England now. That strikes me as typically you, Mrs. Sato, and typically not you at the same time.
Well, I do enjoy all the wonderful new things to come out of the West in the Cultural Revolution, of course. But I'm not ready to give it my brush just yet.
And anyway, Sato-san can write more neatly with a brush than most people can with a pen.
Practice makes perfect, as they say. All the sea life seem very content in there, I must say.
I've noticed something recently, actually. The anemones breed at a most extraordinary rate.
Oh, really?
It's a mystery why the whole seabed isn't buried in a mountain of them, actually.
Oh, how splendid! That really is a mystery, isn't it?
I wish there was someone here to explain Susato-san's strange reaction to that.
I stayed up late to mend that for you the other day, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thank you! You did a really seamless job.
You You're very welcome. It's all in a day's work for your judicial assistant.
The only thing is, I accidentally dropped it into the Thames yesterday, and now it rather smells.
And take better care of it, please.
It was all going so well until I ruined it. Sad. I'm right in thinking that these scales are a symbol of the defense in law, aren't they?
They're supposed to symbolize treating everything equally, fairly. That's why they're always in the middle, balanced, equal measures on both sides.
Recently, though, whenever I see a set of scales, I can only think of the enormous scales of justice.
That's entirely understandable. They are such a powerful symbol in the courtroom, aren't they?
And the thing about the scales of justice is they're always leaning one way or the other. They're only ever in balance right at the start.
It must be something particular to the British. I'm afraid I can't shed any light on it, Mr. Naruhodo.
It's very fine embroidery here that shows the name of the armband's owner. In this case, Kazuma Asogi. So I'm always carrying my best friend's hopes and dreams with me on my right arm, just here. All the time. To be honest, it's something that weighs very heavily on me.
Oh, I didn't realize it was such a burden, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, I think that's why my right shoulder aches so much.
Are you sure that's not to do with you reading in bed or the like?
Oh. It's good news that Professor Mikotoba arrived safely, isn't it?
Yes, it's wonderful. And the fact that Father has been invited to this important international event really makes me very proud to be his daughter.
Your father, Judge Jigoku, us, and Kazuma, of course. There's an ever-increasing number of Japanese here in Britain's capital, isn't there?
Well, yes, I suppose so. But London does have a population of 6 million people, so I think we're still a minority.
Sato-san's father, who came here as a visiting student 16 years ago, and Kazuma. It's almost as if some great power has been at work, drawing them here across the ocean to London. I feel as though the waters are starting to swell again now. Where am I supposed to go? I guess go back to the hotel. Anything else to look at that I missed? There's the mouse. Oops. Did I actually miss something while examining? Like, is there actually something for me to look at? I kind of like glazed over everything here. How do I progress conversations? He doesn't care about this, yeah? It's all I have, though. I don't think we've asked everything. Oh, a paper.
So it looks like last week's edition.
What's that article circled in red ink there?
It's an advertisement column. It says, "The Red-Headed League."
The Red-Headed League? What's that?
I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but...
Is something on my face? Clearly this has something to do with that lively hair. There we go. That's what we needed. An advertisement from the newspaper that's entitled to the Red-Headed League. It seems somewhat suspicious in nature. To the Red-Headed League, on account of the bequest of the late Ezekiah Hopkins of Lebanon, PA, USA. There is now another vacancy open which entitles a member of the League to a salary of £4 a week for purely nominal services. All red-headed men who are sound in body and mind and above the age of 21 years are eligible. Apply in person on the morning of the 31st at the large park on Lime Street. Get £4 per week if you are a redhead. Most fantastic money-making opportunity. That's why his hair is red. Okay, I got it. However, I will say that shorter lengths of overcoats recently have been a great boon. The convenience and freedom it offers while preserving warmth and fashion is highly pleasurable indeed. Something about pants. A successful session, reply to this advertisement, their particulars, and a potential private interview. Public health report. Despite the condition of the City of London itself of late, it has been a positive year so far in public health. There have been fewer cases of consumption reported when compared to this time last year, and smallpox is at an all-time low, thanks to the vaccinations offered at the smallpox fever hospitals throughout the various parts of London. Doctors, however, warn that there appears to be a beginning of yet another cholera epidemic on the horizon. Although the cause of such outbreaks remains unclear, the public is strongly advised to drink only water which has previously been boiled. Retrospective continued from page 1. Truly, more than any other nation, Britain has been successful in its endeavors, thanks in part to the generosity of its many investors and its long and illustrious tradition of fostering inquiries into the sciences. Lest it be forgotten, she is the nation that gave to the world the genius of Sir Isaac Newton. However, there is one other factor at work, the shifting field of economic thought. Despite the fact that Adam Smith's magnum opus, The Wealth of Nations, was published in 1776, the doctrine of the laissez-faire has only begun to truly take root in the last few decades. It remains to be seen just how influential and enduring his ideas will prove to be. St. Bartholomew's Hospital. The latest research findings and leading hypothesis this month from the Teaching Hospital of London. There is an emerging consensus among doctors and scientists of all nations whereby the theory of miasma is being soundly rejected as experiment after experiment has yielded conclusive evidence in support of what physician John Snow had concluded many years prior, that there is a strong correlation between contaminated water and the prevalence of certain diseases. In fact, the latest news to arrive from the continent is consistent with our own research into the so-called germ theory, by which minuscule microorganisms are the actual causes of a great many illnesses. The medical community has already begun in earnest to identify and categorize the tiny creatures, as microscopes also continue to improve through the dedicated work of London's famous instrument makers. We expect that in the coming years, improved instrumentation will allow us to see the germs with further clarity and in greater detail as never before. Something health services. This month's health advisories and notices for the City of London and the great public at large. State of its drinking water. Remember not to drink any water which has not previously been boiled. Fresh water ought to be both something yada 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 to be disposed of. Do not let water stand where it might be adulterated with dirt or other contaminants, or mosquitoes in their eggs. Yada yada yada. If available, as this has been shown to reduce the incidence of the transfer of disease. Yada yada yada. That compulsory vaccination is for the greater good, as history has shown. Thoroughly, yada yada yada, the public's health overall. There we go. We read all the newspaper articles that we could. Oh, right, I need to present this to you. It looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes. Was it you? To the Red-Headed League? Does that strike you in some way? Yes, because your hair is very red! Although, you know what's really funny? In this angle, in this shot, he's a tiny sliver of his natural hair color on his eyebrow right there. As though, like, some filter or, like, you know, whatever didn't quite make it through in this particular angle. I was thinking that just maybe it might be related to your bright red hair. So, at last you've learnt to apply my methods, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry. In the first instance, and quite indispensable, observation. Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut. So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits. Regale or boast? The Red-Headed League. Alright, lay it on me. What's going on? So what is the Red-Headed League, which seems to be the subject of the advertisement you circled? You noticed it in the paper, then? That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment. It was? How? According to the advertisement, the Red-Headed League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance. In fact, the only condition for becoming a member is having red hair. That doesn't entirely surprise me.
But listen to what the lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week. Oh my, £4 a week?
That's quite a bit of money in those times. But why? What are they paying people for?
That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement. But surely every red-headed person in the country would be flocking to join in that case. You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once. So will I. On the off chance.
That might be stretching a point, I think.
The trouble is, they have a fixed number of members, you see.
Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can.
But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away. It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes.
So you decided to try to join in his place?
Correct. I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen such a red-headed fellow?
Yeah, actually we saw two just earlier when we walked in. No.
So why? Why did it have to go so wrong?
What on earth happened?
A blunder, Mr. Naruhodo, though it pains me to admit it.
What was the blunder?
What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Sholmes? I'm glad you asked, Mrs. Sato. What you see atop my head is neither dyed nor a hairpiece. What? I changed the color of my hair overnight by the wonders of chemistry.
Chemistry?
I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that when taken, turns one's hair a flame like red. Would you like to try it? It'll make every hair on your body perfectly crimson.
I would save a lot of money if you could give that to me. I think I'll pass.
No, take it!
I want it. For me.
But Mr. Sholmes, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it?
Amateurs are always hampered by such fears.
Oh, I should have never doubted you, Mr. Sholmes. You mean to say...
But of course! And £4 per week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger. That degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely.
So anyway, Hurley left full of confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For the park on Lime Street where the Red-Headed League were interviewing prospective new members.
So what went wrong? The whole park was chock full with red-headed folk like a coaster's orange barrow. I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. But when the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation? They knew who you were. They know you're not a natural redhead. So naturally, I had no choice but to reply, Shh, don't give me away. After which I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair into the police.
Oh dear, what a disaster. For Hurley and those two redheads.
Ring, 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 phone call, phone call. Aha! Here's my guest now, my latest client, with money to spend. Oh, it was the doorbell, never mind.
Oh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley.
Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. Must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating. Save locating a runaway, of course. Ugh. Don't spare anyone's feelings, will ya?
Oh dear, I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before the rent is due.
Weren't you on the jury last time?
Mr. Sholmes! Oh, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, please, oh please! Please find my husband, he's run away!
Didn't you just say you wouldn't take a missing persons case? To upset me?
I beg your pardon?
Never mind, a personal matter. My apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I didn't say a word! Come, my dear madam, be seated. Iris, some tea, if you please.
Of course!
What's the matter, Mrs. Sato?
Oh, it's just that gentlewoman. I feel sure I've seen her somewhere before.
She was on the jury last time.
Very recently.
Yeah, now you come to mention it.
Evie. As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure.
Money and wealth are of little consequence to me, madam. Being offered a case to solve is rewarded of— Don't say that! You need the money, you— Okay, alright.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you are the picture of benevolence.
I will, of course, make a mental note of your offer, however, for contingent reasons. I trust you'll remember your words also?
If I might inquire, sir. This gentleman and lady would be...
Oh, me?
But I'm about to tell you, I should like to communicate in the strictest confidence, you understand.
Ah, these are my friends. I assure you, you may say before this pair anything which you may say to me.
Ah, I see.
I can vouch for the gentleman personally. After all, he's hard of hearing. Why did I ever get my hopes up? Alright, let's talk to her. Mrs. Vigil, hello. Forgive me for asking, Mrs. Vigil, but have we met somewhere before? Quite recently, perhaps.
Oh my!
Sean, my dear fellow, what is your intention? Clearly you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of the English. If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentlemanly fashion.
Is it possible that you are the nice young lawyer from the trial I attended last week?
Ah, I knew I recognized her.
Have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly. It sends shivers down my spine.
I didn't quite recognize her because she's acting so differently now.
It must be very difficult for you as a lawyer. Being hard of hearing, I mean.
God damn it, Sholmes. Pardon?
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It was February, really, nothing more.
Now look what you started, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you very much. I believe it would be prudent for you to sit quietly in the corner. Yes. Let's talk about Mr. Vigil. Tell us about your husband, madam.
Mr. Vigil, my daily is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here.
Seems nice. An entirely unremarkable gentleman, by appearance at least. How long have you been married?
It'll be 15 years this year. We have a cordial relationship. My husband's income is more than adequate, so we live quite comfortably.
As it would appear, I need only to look at you to know these things.
Oh gosh!
Your dress is the latest style, your hat clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you have no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct?
That's right. He's a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me.
Which would point to the possibility that he has become embroiled in some incident or other.
Oh, that is exactly what I fear must have happened, Mr. Sholmes. I'm quite beside myself. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see. What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will?
What exactly is your husband's line of work?
He's a warder at the prison.
Oh. Okay. A guard. That is somewhat unusual. Prison warder? So, your husband's a prison warder.
That's right, yes. Well, in actual fact, he's the chief warder.
Indeed. I see. Yeah, he makes quite a bit of money then. Well, chief prison warder certainly qualifies as something of a specialist occupation.
Yes, it is indeed. My poor husband must prepare those dreadful punishments and see that they're carried out.
Dreadful punishments? Does she mean capital punishment?
And at such times, he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. For that extra responsibility, he is remunerated more handsomely than the other warders. Of course, we make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbors.
Yes, I believe your prudence is justified. Tell me, at what prison is your husband engaged? Gonna be the one that we were talking about.
Barclay Prison, Mr. Sholmes.
Really? Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment. If I'm not mistaken, there's a large cemetery just behind it. Yeah, that's where the whole the professor thing happened, right?
Yes, that's correct. Lowgate Cemetery.
Yup. No. Lowgate Cemetery? The very place we were discussing in court! That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable, my dear fellow, and yet undeniable. Sorry, Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid you've lost me.
Pay no heed, madam, pay no heed. A private matter. This can't really be a coincidence, can it? Nope, never is. Let's talk about your husband's disappearance. So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance, when did you realize he was missing?
Please try not to laugh. It was yesterday.
I'm sorry, yesterday? That really is recent. Laughably so.
The truth is, my husband does at times have occasion to spend the night away for his work. It's not at all out of the ordinary for him not to return home at night, but this is different. For him not to make any contact for a whole day, that has certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Daly, whatever can have happened?
My dear Mrs. Vigil, please calm yourself. Now then, have you contacted the police?
Why, naturally, but sadly, they refuse to listen to my pleas as my husband has only been missing for one day. I was asked to wait patiently at home.
In truth, Mrs. Vigil, I can go with the police. However, let us not be hasty. See no reason why we should not engage my detective powers to track your husband down anyway.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
And furthermore, let me assure you, a chance to solve the greatest problem known to man for another month has no bearing on my decision. I seek only to put a sweet smile on another Londoner's face. That's really all there is to it.
You have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention.
You seek only to put this sweet's rent on your landlady's purse. That's all there is to it. I mean, fair. We gotta pay rent. You gotta pay the bills. You gotta work to pay the bills. Thank you for everything you've shared with us, Mrs. Vigil. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation.
Oh, please report to me with good news, sir.
Fear not, madam. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with a heartening report, I'm quite sure.
So soon? Oh, how splendid, Mr. Sholmes.
Good news should be delivered early, I always say. If you would be so kind as to leave the photograph of your husband in my possession. Photographic print received from Mrs. Vigil in order to aid with locating her missing husband. He appears to have no particularly distinctive facial features. Thank you. Now allow me to show you the door.
Can't thank you enough, Mr. Sholmes. You've been simply marvelous.
You know, I think it every time, Hurley. But how do you come out with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two? Are you sure? Can't be sure, of course, but then I didn't swear on it. I merely gave the good woman some hope. I hope to be able to give her good news, one might say. After all, the rent must be paid by the end of day tomorrow. If by that time I've successfully located Mr. Vigil, we shall be mutually relieved. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Don't look at me with those pleading eyes. Well, my dear fellow, did you hear the details of the case? Are you telling me to do the search with you? Because that seems like what's gonna happen. Yes, my hearing is surprisingly good, actually. Excellent, and what did you make of it? Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked. At Barclay Prison, I mean. Ah, so you noted that.
Of course, especially with the mention of Lowgate Cemetery.
Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. So it was renowned among the students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts.
Barclay Prison is where that notorious man was incarcerated.
A professor. And now a warder from the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem. It's all very peculiar. They've been together for 15 years, so that means he was likely a warder, at least a warder, if not the chief warder, 10 years ago when the whole thing happened. Could be at the same prison, could be not, but knowing this game, probably was. It's all very peculiar. Indeed, but nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Nut. Are you just telling me to do the whole thing? Sorry. Run along to the prison and see what you can glean, would you? It's the prison governor you want. No doubt the man is equally worried. But aren't you going to go yourself? Surely you needn't ask. I can't possibly be seen out with this hair. But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair? That was quite a different matter. But I leave it in your capable hands. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy. Of course you are. Alright, to the prison governor's office. Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lonely burial ground. Its 4 high outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. 1st of November. Barclay Prison, governor's office. This place is full of hardened criminals. I can I remember the last time a civilian was done here. And you deny I want to talk to an inmate, but to me? Did they not mention a Caden? Do you know who I am? I'm the Governor Barry Caden. Oh, yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Yunus Kinanohodo, defense lawyer. And an Easterner, I see. Does that mean? Yes, I'm visiting student of law from the Emperor of Japan. Japan? Did you say Japan? Yes. Well, there's no one of your kind in here, laddie. Maybe you should try the prison next door, eh?
I didn't notice another prison next door, sir.
Anyway, shit. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I didn't like to be so direct, but... No intention of speaking with the likes of you suspicious-looking Easterners. Now get out of my hair! So as soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means...
I think it's because of the professor case.
You think so too? 10 years ago, Genshin Isugi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. And then, after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison. I might have known. You're sniffing around about that case, aren't you? You're agents, eh? Part of the Professor's great web, no doubt. No, not at all. We're just... Get gone with ya before I punch your lights out. We're going! We're going! Clearly, the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. We're not gonna get anywhere here. Unless we can somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us.
Governor Caden.
What are you thinking, Miss Susato?
I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere.
Yeah, wasn't it with your dad and Judge Jigoku?
I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have some ideas to help us.
Or was it Strongheart? Come to think of it, I have the same feeling. Said get out! Oh, look, he's just chilling right there. Professor Mikotoba. He's over there. Hello, you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked. But where's Judge Shigoku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs.
Having only just arrived in the country today. Goodness, he is full of energy.
Professor, you mentioned something before. About how you'd known the prison governor at Barclay Prison. Oh, Governor Caden, you mean? So it is the same man.
Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners.
Oh, yeah. They were like, oh, yeah, but it's all water under the bridge. And I'm like, who's Caden? That's gonna come up. Now we know. Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That'd be wonderful, if you have time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment. Busy drinking coffee on a comfortable settee? Oh no, I have a rather lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Mikotobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts.
Or could it be that you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts?
Let's not fall out now, I have an idea. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Ah, thank you. Letter of introduction, a note of introduction on our behalf from Professor Mikotoba to Governor Caden. Hopefully now he'll be willing to talk to us. Good luck then. Thanks, Dad. Professor Mikotoba has wonderful handwriting, doesn't he? This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Is it just me, or does that make me sound extremely untrustworthy?
I do wish he'd at least call you a nice young man.
I'm really not sure that would help. If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Caden. What's this then? You can I pull the wool over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student? Otoba? That young jock from the forensics laboratory? That Mikotoba? Yes, exactly him!
Oh dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Eugene Mikotoba's daughter, Susato.
Jings! You're the young man's daughter? Didn't I think to mention that afore?
I do apologize.
Aye, well, you'd best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? And did I forget to draw one of these wee handcuff biscuits? Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing.
Bitterly regretting not announcing who he was from the outset now.
So then, what can I do for you, Anne?
Well, we're currently investigating a case.
It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing?
That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor.
I've never heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison.
Oh,
But how can that be?
it's Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder.
Eh? Vigil? That's right, his wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now. Clearly that means something to him.
Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir?
Aye, of course. Now, can I look around? Yes, time to stoop. An axe, a hunting rifle, and 4 pairs of handcuffs. That's a daunting collection. Ah, there's a story behind every one of those. You mean the rifle was a famous killer's murder weapon, and the axe was wielded by an infamous executioner? And the handcuffs were once used to immobilize a fierce 4-legged beast when it was arrested?
I think you're in the realms of fantasy now, Mr. Naruhodo.
Not those kind of stories, Jiminy! That axe was the one I used to chop down the cherry tree at my house. Mrs. Caden was nae pleased. Ah, and the cuffs on the left are the ones I caught my first burglar with back when I was a bobby.
The stories were a little different to those you imagined, I think, weren't they?
Yes, to my relief, and in some small way, my disappointment. That's funny.
Suppose these are all former governors of Barclay Prison, are they?
Either that or former inmates who the governor has sent to the gallows.
Oh dear, they all have such severe expressions, I really couldn't deny either possibility.
Especially the one on the extreme right. His expression goes beyond severe into a whole new territory. That one's me. Don't be rude, Ryunosuke.
I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Is it a prerequisite of the job, perhaps? Having a severe expression, I mean. Of course it's not, although it is taken into consideration. A lot. This grandfather clock is...
It's fitted with a terrifying blade that keeps dropping down.
Modeled on the guillotine, a French execution device. You might have heard of it. And yes, a Ford, you ask? It can chop. Heads off, you mean? Others no, carrots and parsnips and so forth. I would use it to cut vegetables, yeah.
Oh.
Place a large carrot at the bottom there in the morn. By evening, it'll have been cut clean in two.
Well, the blade must have an almost indescribable edge on it then.
Hey, bird. I'd never expected to find a parrot in prison. Must be the governor's pet.
Given where we are, it's hard not to see the poor creature as a prisoner.
Let me out! Then they kill me!
Ah!
Has the bird learned to mimic the plaintive cries of the inmates in the cells? Oh, no, he was one of the 3 siblings, you see. He still calls with the names of his 2 brothers like that all the time. Right. Let me out! Then they kill me! Aye, I hear ya, laddie. Want your dinner, eh? Didn't I do it? His name's Didn't I do it? And his brothers were Lemiut and Didn't I kill me? Okay then. That's a very large cabinet full of papers, isn't it? It's labeled inmate register, look. And all the files are in alphabetical order. That's 50 years worth of records of Barclay's inmates. Whether or not they left alive after serving their term. All the details about the crimes they committed are recorded in there. Like an epitaph, you might say.
A record of crimes and punishments. How dispiriting.
And yet, this man seems to be enjoying tea and biscuits as he talks about it. Look, it takes a particular kind of person to work in this kind of environment. That deer's been staring at me for a while now.
It has?
Poor thing can't fit through the small hole in the wall, but it can't get its head back out again now either. It's not alive, Ryunosuke. It's giving me a woefully imploring look.
It's not real, Mr. Naruhodo. It's stuffed.
What? I mean, yes, of course it is. For a moment, I thought it was another assassin sneaking in by the ventilator.
I don't like to say, but I think perchance you need to reread The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes.
That's fun. Alright, let's talk. Talk about Chief Warder Vigil. We understand that Mr. Vigil is the Chief Warder here at the prison. Aye, that he was. Strong sense of responsibility and dedicated to the job, no doubt about it. He was a fine warder. What do you mean was? Sorry, did you say was? Aye, he doesn't work here no more. He left the job.
Oh my!
When was this exactly? There's a question. When was it about? Can I have been much more less than 10 years ago now? What the fuck? But he's been lying to his wife for 10 years then? What? 10 years ago? He stopped working here 10 years ago? Aye, as I minded. Chicken, I've never heard the fella's name in all that time. That's a worry if he's gone missing though. But Mrs. Vigil made no mention of it.
I think perhaps Mr. Naruhodo, but his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here.
Governor Caden, can you tell us about what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here? That's important, is it? Yeah, if we're gonna find him, we need to know. Yes, I believe it may be.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago? Which was exactly when the professor was being held at this prison. What happened 10 years ago?
So Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position as Chief Warder 10 years ago, you're telling us. What happened to make him leave the job?
In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter. You mean he was dismissed? It was after a particular walk. Sorry, a walk? Aye, that's all word for here. That's all word for it in here. A walk to the gallows. Oh, did he fail to kill the professor? And an execution. It's a job with the chief warder to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions, you see. Only Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning.
What did he do?
Sorry, but can I reveal that information? I can tell you that it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post. But why wouldn't Mrs. Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here. I would not get anything about that, I'm afraid.
You perhaps answer one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal.
What would that be, Anne?
That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Was it by any chance Professor's?
My thoughts exactly. Sorry, I really am. But I'm at no liberty to answer that.
I see.
Let's talk about Professor Mikotoba then.
My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted.
The dead room, prison, and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for forensic research. You can? Yes, I can imagine.
The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable.
Your father worked in the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard, in the basement of St. Sinner's. Still in use today. St. Sinners. That's come up before, I'm sure. Isn't that where What's-Her-Face's lab was? Dr. Sith.
Yes, that's right. We've been there.
Nikotova and I often used to ride in a carriage together and negotiate terms. For more fresh material, I suppose. Aye, and we used to sit in here for hours and gab on about dissection and all sorts. Whew, takes me back. Over a pot of tea and a plate of cuff biscuits, of course.
How charming.
He was a good fella, your father. Reliable and dead set on his work. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese. Because of Genshin Asogi, I suppose. Well... Can I tell you anything else?
Thank you so much for your time, Governor.
Oh, one moment before you're away, Hen. Sure, I have it in here somewhere. Ah, found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison.
What is it?
That's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course.
Oh my, are you sure?
Aye, it's no trouble at all. It's not the original, mind. A harsh reprimand incurred by Mr. Vigil 10 years ago that resulted in him losing his job as Chief Ward of Barclay Prison. Thank you very much, Governor Caden. Chief Warder Daily Vigil is relieved of his post with immediate effect for having violated Clause 132 of Her Majesty's Code of Conduct for Prisons. 25th June. All rights to redundancy pay and other financial benefits are fully revoked. Reason for dismissal: aiding and abetting the escape from this prison of convict. We know that's probably Genshin Asogi just prior to his execution. Details of this escape are still being investigated. Full cooperation with inquiries will be expected. Signed, Prison Governor Barry Caden. Additional notes: indications are that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration. It's believed that the convict engaged in some form of negotiation with prison staff in order to secure assistance. Full disclosure of information regarding these negotiations will be demanded. Well, in return, do me a favor and never come back here. That case is closed.
Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being.
Yes, I agree. We need to report back to Mr. Sholmes with what we found out about Mr. Vigil. What will he tell Mrs. Vigil, I wonder? Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Sholmes is sweet. First of November, Sholmes is sweet. We're back! Hello, you two! Oh, sorry, Iris.
Hello, you two! I thought you'd be back before long, so I'd bake some scones for us all. I love a good scone!
So that's what the delicious smell is. Why is this hair blue now? Is this the beginnings of the mystery shampoo that we later find in a future case with Phoenix? Greetings, my dear fellows. You've returned as a good deal sooner than I was anticipating. Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Hello, Mr. Sholmes?
Say nothing. Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. Turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application.
Oh my.
Pray tell me, what of our warder friend? Have you garnered some new information? Oh, yeah, something very surprising, in fact. Though it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest.
It most certainly isn't, but still, we discovered that...
Sholmes! Oh, it's Gina.
Drop everything, Sholmes! This is more important!
Gina?
I can't Adam and Eve it! What's happened?
Clearly a very grave matter indeed. But Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever.
It's the boss!
What do you mean? Inspector Gregson? Is he missing too?
The boss is... He's dead!
What?
They just found his body, shot with a pistol!
What? Are you sure he's dead, not just at the hospital? Hope he's just at the hospital. That's fucked up, man.
But... Inspector Gregson?
He was murdered?
No! Not Gregsy!
Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. What happened? Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was... He was really shot?
I don't know much about what happened myself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene.
Where did this take place?
A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street.
The outskirts of town, nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then.
The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there. Oh, how strange. The boss was... He was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but... One day I was gonna show him. I was gonna show him I'd become a proper detective.
Oh, it's so sad.
Oh, Ginny.
Do we know anything about who did it? So who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is?
I got him already.
Already? They've caught the shooter so soon?
A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him. Who? What awful person did this? I still can't believe it myself.
Gina? Was it someone we know?
It was the Reaper.
Huh? Is that Van Zeeks? Wait a minute. You don't mean they've arrested Lord Van Zeeks for it? Oh, this is going like the Ace Attorney game where we had to defend Edgeworth and that's how we became besties.
That's right. That Reaper bloke's gone. He shot the boss.
No, Lord Van Zeeks? Wait, we just saw him at the Chief Justice's office, though. Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade, it's Berg Van Zeeks the police have arrested?
I saw him with my own eyes in the interview room at the yard.
I don't believe it.
Well, there were witnesses, and they're all saying it was him.
So you mean there was actually multiple witnesses?
They'd heard the gunshot, apparently. And when our lot got to the scene, there was only the boss and that Reaper bloke in the room.
But there's no way Lord Van Zeeks would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it.
I don't believe it either.
Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade. This really is most terrible news. Dreadfully sorry.
What are you
you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing. Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come and all, as soon as you can. You gotta help. All right, let's go. The detectives lot to appear whenever some sinister plot is unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming, huh? How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson. Sonato shall leave at once to begin my investigations. Of course, yes, we will too. It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Till later then. Inspector Gregson dead and Lord Van Zeek's arrested.
Bruno, Susie! I've called you a handsome. It's waiting outside.
Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Mrs. Sato?
Yes.
Let's go to the prison. The prison cell where the defendant Lord Van Zeeks is being held. It's quiet and the light from the candle is dim, but there's little chance of sleeping. First of November. Local prison. Cell 1. There he is, Lord Van Zeek's behind bars.
So it's true, he really was arrested.
He's sitting with his back to the wall reading something. I don't think he's noticed us. Lord Van Zeeks! Fancy meeting you here. The last place on Earth I'd like to be, but the last person on Earth I'd like to see. I couldn't very well not come. Who's gonna be our prosecutor? Gonna be Cosma? He was studying under Van Zeeks, or it could be Strongheart himself. I heard what happened, that Inspector Gregson was... Go home. This has nothing to do with you. But it has a lot to do with us, actually. He was our friend.
Forgive me, Lord Van Zeeks, but I must disagree. Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. We're indebted to him. At the very least, we owe it to him to find out the truth about his death. You must help us with our investigations, please.
There's really nothing I can tell you. What were you just reading at the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case? And this? The Yard isn't quite so cavalier with its information as to share case details with the suspect. This is a letter from an old acquaintance.
Oh, who might that be?
Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Harebrain. Oh, Albert! How's he doing? Of course, yes. I keep forgetting they went to the same university. I would like to read my correspondence in peace. So let's get this over with, shall we? What is it you want to know? Strange. I mean, let's face it, Lord Van Zeeks never minces his words. They seem to have less bite than usual somehow. I think you know what this is that this is worn by my people in my country to show that they're defense lawyers, don't you? And I think you know that I believed you to be merely playing at lawyer craft, initially. But it would seem your armband may actually imply some dormant talent after all. Lord Van Zeeks, do you mean that... Hope you wake up soon. Hey! Yes, I was clearly daydreaming. I almost thought I got a compliment there. It's not for me. Ah, that's not why I was showing you it. Suppose if it was a black-headed league, you would have no hesitation. None whatsoever! Sadly, my own hair could no more be described as black as it could red. What colored league should I then join?
People are troubled by the most unexpected problems at times.
I'm not sure. It's like definitely some shade of dark gray. Hey, do you know this dude? What's that? It's just something I was hoping to ask your opinion about, that's all. It's a serious crime for the defense to attempt to extract information from the prosecution by illegal means. Alright, I get the message, but I don't see what's illegal about me asking. Nope, nothing here either. You know nothing about this? Nope, okay. Has nothing to do with Vigil for right now. Alright, let's talk. What happened? Can you at least tell us your side of the story, Lord Van Zeeks? What happened? How much do you already know?
I know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Fresno Street.
And that you were found there by the police when they arrived on the scene and immediately arrested.
We're told that there was nobody else in the room and that some witnesses heard the gunshot.
Then you're well informed. There's really nothing I can add. The truth is, I don't know what happened myself. But the gunshot, obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you? I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. I also heard the noise, however. Before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving officers. So he doesn't actually know what happened either.
I might ask, what were you doing in that place to begin with?
I don't need to answer that.
Oh,
After all, you're not representing me. He is gonna need a lawyer, though. Who is going to defend you, then? Who is going to be representing you in court, Lord Van Zeeks? Anyone other than you, I should imagine.
would I be right in assuming that you have no representation as yet?
Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, as I'm sure you know. But this is different! This is the Reaper actually on trial! My career, of all the defendants I've prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted. Them, 16 subsequently died in mysterious circumstances. Questions will be asked now.
Surely not.
I assure you no defense lawyer will want to touch me with the end of a barge pole. But you didn't actually have anything to do with those people's deaths, did you? It's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I. However, it seems things may yet come to a head before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that.
What does he mean by that?
What was in Professor Harebrain's letter? After the trial, Professor Harebrain was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought. It's a letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home, and arrange his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper.
Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad, you mean?
Yes, so it seems. Your stooped little Nipponese friend, for example, told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day. Yeah, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo.
So Professor Harebrain is safely back in Germany now.
He is. So, it appears our conversation has run dry. There was a 2-second silence, that's all. Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you. I was wondering, Lord Van Zeeks, if you'd like, I'd be happy to advocate for you. Trust me, do you? Yeah? I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure that you would never have taken another's life. It's just, my feelings can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly. It's a very gracious offer, however. I trust no one. What? You trust me with Albert? Not the police, not the judiciary, not you Nipponese. But please! I have no intention of engaging your services. The chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems. I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time. Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper and find out more about Lord Van Zeeks and what happened to Inspector Gregson. Alright, let's go to Fresno Street. Scene of the crime, a hidden room accessed from a small alley off Fresno Street in a quiet part of London. First of November, room on Fresno Street. This really is an out-of-the-way part of London. I doubt many people find their way down this back street. So this dust-ridden, rented old room. What happened then?
So this is where poor Inspector Gregson lost his life.
Yes, and the police are already hard at work investigating, it seems. I don't see Mr. Sholmes anywhere, though. Perhaps his investigations have taken him elsewhere.
Oi! What do you think you're doing there? Every one of them doors has got to be taken right out so you can look underneath and all. I want the space above the ceiling checked, and don't forget to look inside the chimney stack too. Blimey, ain't you lot never gone over an house looking for dough when the owners are out of town?
Gina's obviously got some unique investigative techniques she wants everyone to adopt.
Oh, so you turned up at last. Mind you, I ain't been here long myself.
Hello again, Gina.
Sholmes has only just left. You're lucky you missed that. He went prancing around in here, pointing at stuff and flicking that at his, and then just scarpered. Oh, he's finished investigating already, you mean? Yeah, he didn't stop to say nothing to no one, not even me.
Gina, would you mind if we investigated too?
Listen, Otto. You're a lawyer, right?
Yes? Why?
Well, you're not thinking of trying to help that Reaper bloke, are you?
Oh! Poor Gina. She's never gonna forget, is she? That trial will haunt her forever.
Gina, if you don't mind me saying, if Lord Van Zeeks really is responsible for this crime, he will be duly and fairly judged in court. I suppose you're right, yeah. Go on then, Otto, get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened here.
Thank you, Gina. Excuse me. Oh, Inspector. Oh, sir. Poor man, he can't possibly be able to focus on investigating when he's so upset. Oh. Oh, Inspector. Oh, sir. Sorry, that's what he sounded like. Who's this?
Oh, it's a photograph stand. Suppose it must be a picture of one of Inspector Gregson's family members.
What's the matter? Your eyes look like they're about to pop out of your head. Is it Evie Vigil?
They are, look! Mr. Naruhodo, quickly!
This is where the husband was staying, instead of going to work at the prison. Huh, why do I feel like this woman is familiar somehow?
Of course she's familiar, but you met her only this morning.
It's Mrs. Vigil! This makes no sense.
This makes no sense. Why would there be a picture of Mrs. Vigil in here?
To be frank, I don't think I've ever been more stumped.
Sorry to say, I have no idea either.
Photographic print of a smiling Mrs. Vigil in her younger years. It was found on a desk at the scene of the crime. An empty fireplace makes a room feel even colder than it would be otherwise, doesn't it?
It's thick with dust, look. I think it would be fair to say it hasn't been used in a very long time.
In other words, whoever lived in this room must have been extremely hardy in cold weather.
Or nobody lived here at all and merely visited when the occasion arose. I wouldn't like to say which is more likely.
No, that's right. It's one or the other. Excuse me. Sorry, sir. Can't see a thing, sir. Too many tears, sir. Right, perhaps I'd better leave you to your work then. This is presumably the murder weapon then.
Oh my, it is real, I suppose.
I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them.
There's one way to know for sure, Mr. Naruhodo. Fire a shot.
No! No. If I did that, I'd be looking for a skilled lawyer to represent me in court. Slightly safer just to ask someone who might know, I think. The murder weapon that was found at the scene of the crime on Fresno Street. Probably best to avoid handling it. Oh, what's this?
Would appear to be a little model policeman. It's rather charming, isn't it? In a way.
Seeing as it's on the floor here, you think it belonged to Inspector Gregson?
It's a little hard to imagine Lord Van Zeek's playing with something like this.
It's only about 8 centimeters tall. Could have fallen out of someone's pocket, I suppose. I think we should record it as evidence, just in case.
Yes, I agree. It is rather delightful, after all, in a way.
A small and rather endearing model of a British policeman found at the scene of the crime on Fresno Street. Was he looking for money, so he was doing the red-headed thing too? Ever since we came in here, I can't take my eyes off this thing.
Oh, funnily enough, neither can I.
It's a hairpiece, isn't it?
It is, a bright red hairpiece.
I suppose the fact that it's right there next to where the body was found means we have to accept that Inspector Gregson wore wigs, does it?
It's such a flame-colored red, too.
Yeah, that's a color we've come across very recently elsewhere, isn't it?
Exactly. This is a vital clue, I'm sure of it.
A flame red wig found at the scene of the crime on Fresno Street presumably belonged to Inspector Gregson, but I'm pretty sure it belonged to one Mr. Vigil. Top of one of those candles in the candle holder has been completely blown off.
Yes, there's wax spattered on the wall behind, look.
I suppose if a bullet had hit it.
It does seem likely the bullet hit the candle, having first passed through the inspector's body.
Ugh, now that wax on the wall looks like blood to me. A candelabrum from the wall of the room on Fresno Street where the inspector was found dead. The top of one of the candles appears to have been blown off. Somebody's very haphazardly nailed those boards over the broken glass, haven't they? You couldn't even really call it a window anymore.
Well, if you remember the window in Mr. Natsume's room, that was totally blocked up with bricks. This one does at least still let some light in, though, so you could say...
You could say nothing more about it. I'm starting to feel even more sorry for Mr. Natsume now. Excuse me. If you're looking down on us from the great beyond, Inspector, don't worry. We'll look after things at the yard. I've interrupted someone's deep thoughts there. So I suppose this is where the victim...
That's right. The rope is laid around the body to show exactly how it was found. Inspector Gregson himself has already been taken away.
And would probably be under Dr. Sith's scalpel by now, if not for what happened last week.
The shape of the rope. It would appear that the inspector was curled up in a ball. Are you feeling alright, Mr. Naruhodo? You look like you've just seen a ghost.
I know it's just a rope, but... well, it conjures up quite a terrifying image, that's all. Especially with that blood stain next to it.
Oh, I do understand. In some ways, what we picture in our minds can be even worse than reality.
The Sato-san is so strong, though. She's taking this far better than I am. Alright, let's take a look at all our new evidence. I suppose this must have been the murder weapon.
Oh my. It is real, I suppose.
I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them. Perhaps someone more familiar with firearms could shed a light on things here.
The helmet of this charming policeman appears to be a little worse for the wear.
Not convinced about the charming part, but yes, you're right. The HUD part looks like it's been fairly heavily manhandled. It's as if somebody has enjoyed twisting it around and around for fun. Shall we try twisting it around and around too? For fun. Ah, what's that?
It appears to be some sort of key.
But it's tiny though, it couldn't be a key for a door, not that size. So what is it for, I wonder? Giving a twist causes a key-like shaft to pop out from the base. This looks like some sort of key.
Yes, it does.
Very tiny and simple key. What's a little key doing inside a figurine of a policeman in the first place? What's it for? Interesting. I've always wondered what the underside of a hairpiece looks like.
That doesn't surprise me at all, Mr. Naruhodo. You always want to see what lies beneath, don't you?
I'm not sure that's quite how I'd put it. You must have to use lots of bird lime to keep it in place on your head. So it doesn't get blown off in a gust of wind, I mean.
That might be a little inconvenient when you wanted to take it off again, don't you think?
There's some black marks here, look.
Yes, they look like some sort of scorch marks.
Perhaps the bullet struck the candle here, do you think? It's only this one candle that's been cracked in half, it seems.
Yes, I think you might be right.
The others are, like, pretty far burned down compared to that one.
Firearms are rarely used by criminals in Japan, so I'm afraid I'm not particularly knowledgeable about them.
Alright, let's talk to Gina. Let's talk about Inspector Gregson. Gina, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place?
That's what I want to know. It's what, half a year since I got out of the clink. That's when I decided to give up me diving and become a detective instead.
Oh yeah, Mr. Sholmes twisted the inspector's arm to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he?
Something like that, I think. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really know much about the boss till then.
But
But it turns out he's a bit of a legend at the yard. Goodness, really? They say he managed to solve some really tricky case, just like that. Did? Yup, and ever since then, he started going on all sorts of investigations, but always on his own. No one else at the yard even knows what half the cases he's working on are, apparently. That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? So what was with the legendary inspector doing in a dingy little room like this? I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all. And look where that landed him! Respect for the Reaper? In what way? I heard him say as much. Take me out after that fella, were his words. Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper. Yeah, the boss said that's exactly why he respected the bloke. I didn't realize Gregson held the Reaper in quite such a high regard. He said something else to me and all. That I didn't need to worry about the Reaper, because he only goes after people what are bad. It did kind of set my mind at ease when he said that. Right. Talk about the crime scene. What is this place then? Does anyone live here? Apparently it's been rented by some cove called Hugh Boone. Hugh Boone. Hugh Boone? The sort of here today, gone tomorrow name, that isn't it? Yeah, he's what we call an unidentified person. We haven't been able to get in touch with him. See, well, judging from appearances, I'd have to say this place hasn't been lived in for a long time, if ever. Right? All the lads in the yard piled down to get stuck into the investigation. But there's so little here, no one knew what to do with themselves. I do wonder. Yes, Mrs. Sato? Well, could it be that this Hugh Boone is in fact Inspector Gregson himself? What? How could that be? Well, if he was investigating on his own, it's quite possible that this was in fact some kind of secret office of his. I'd never even considered that. Nice work, Suze. We're actually following a line of inquiry like that ourselves. War. If you look around the room, you'll see there's a few things that hint at it. We should really investigate this place in detail. Talk about the incident. I see that's where the poor inspector was found, over there. Yeah, that's right. They said it was a single bullet what did him in. Apparently the bullet went right through him, struck that candle tree on the wall. Oh yeah, it's blown off one of the candles apart completely. And the gun used is there on the floor. It's the Reaper's, isn't it? No denying that. What? Really? How do you know that? Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me with them big white eyes. I'm only saying what I've heard. I don't know much about guns myself. But there's some bigwig lawman or whatever who said so. Why don't you ask him? A bigwig lawman, is it? Anyway, Fresno Street runs along under that window there. There was some street sellers just outside who heard the gunshot. Oh, but I don't recall seeing anybody outside. Yeah, they've all been taken down the yard for questioning, that's why. We're talking about the yard's legendary inspector here, after all. They'll be getting a grilling. I think we might be able to speak with those street sellers ourselves. I doubt it. Lads at the yard will just want to know what you're snooping around for. You'll be up for a grilling and all. So we can't interview the witnesses then. Shame. Let's just go down the list. Gina, what do you make of this? What's that? Evidence? Work something out about what happened, have ya? No. Oh, no. Not exactly. I ain't been long enough on the job to get all this deduction business yet. I swear I'm gonna get the person who did this to the boss. Gina, what do you make of that? No, okay, don't know anything about the gun.
You know anything about this? Nope. Know anything? What about the wig? Alright. And the candelabrum? Nope. Alright, let's look around a little bit more. Oh.
This looks like some sort of notice board or something.
It's absolutely covered in scraps of paper.
Mr. Naruhodo, look!
This, you mean, it's an autopsy report, isn't it?
These are case notes here, and details of prison inmates.
Yes, in fact, they're all the sort of documents that only a detective could normally acquire. What on earth went on in this room?
Some old newspaper cuttings. And this one here.
Oh yeah, the advertisement, you mean? To the Red-Haired League. But why? What's that doing here?
Whoever occupied this room was clearly interested in it for some reason.
I think that was the only thing I'd missed. But I didn't exactly add evidence, so do you just have something else to say? Nope. Maybe we need more info on the gun, and then we can come back. Let's take a quick break. I'll run the ads a little bit early. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and yeah, just take a quick break. All right, I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Beam on me. When you...
Light is too strong.
Keep pouring it on.
need
Beam, beam, beam.
someone.
To be.
I'm so proud of you all. Is there no formal job training? Do they just throw you into the fire and expect you to swim? No, wait, hold on. Throw you into the ocean and expect you to swim? Sorry, got my things mixed up there. Yes, what is it?
I believe we have found the man to whom the package was intended.
Look, you can swim in fire if you believe. Hey, guys, chat room. I want to point something out to you once we get out of this fight. I'm gonna point something out to you guys so you'll never be able to unsee it. You see these trees I'm standing next to? Do these trees not look like a really buff dude who skips out on leg day? You're welcome. As a result, I brought this knife so I could shank this bitch next to me if he doesn't fucking give me back my coin. I know he took it. There was no one else there. Bro, what? Bro, what? Excuse me? Anyway, the fact remains, Typical. Most of the time these trees won't stop rustling. But as soon as I need their opinion, then silence is golden. Thanks for the spirit wood. I think you've got some issues that we need to maybe talk about. Ooh, money though.
Oh shit, me, going to one.
Choco, go to 2.
We're moving.
Oh my
White, I got it, White.
Oh fuck, I'm dead. I can't.
Got it.
Good shot.
Little early.
I got him.
I'm gonna die for Akmorn here, though.
Oh my god, the 1% is killing me.
Just unload, just unload.
Go, 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 go!
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Just unload.
Yes! Oh my god.
Yeah.
What? I'll take it! What? I'll take it! This life for life! What happened? For life!
Yeah.
What happened? And tombstone. Fuck! Fuck. Map? Fuck. Tombstone! Good job, us. I'm so proud of our warrior of light. Fucking tombstones. It's fine. We're friends. Alrighty, chat. I'm back. Hope you guys had a good break. I had to feed the cats too. That was the whole thing. Okay. Where are we going? Let's see if we can get someone to identify the pistol for us. Let's try the Lord Chief Justice. Maybe he can shed some light for us. He is a bit of a law bigwig. 1st of November, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. You've made good time. I took an express train back to London. I'm assuming it's Jigoku. I can hear Lord Strongheart. Can you?
Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone.
Oh shit. Nope, it was Cosma.
Took an express train back to London.
Is everything in place? What are they up to?
I had a private compartment on the train so I could check on the paperwork.
It's...
Kazuma-sama!
Ah, your timing is impeccable. It is? No doubt you have heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry. Yes? But you're the one who also said that it wasn't him who was killing people.
I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Van Zeeks could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson.
I believe only in the facts. And the facts in this case point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal of Lord Van Zeeks for this crime. Are you setting him up? Are you an evil mastermind? Who thinks that you're doing things for the greater good, but you're actually very corrupt? Because you do kind of give off that vibe, and you have been. We must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective.
Oh no, surely not!
It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow, the Forensic Science Symposium finally begins. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes. So does that mean the trial is tomorrow? Precisely. Fact, this is a fine opportunity for introductions.
Kazuma.
Ah, but of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you? Mr. Asogi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings. You're gonna be the prosecutor, isn't he? Leading the prosecution. Yep. Look, he's even got the ascot. Wait. What? Kazuma. So I'm sure you're aware he's a very capable practitioner of law.
Kazuma-sama, a prosecutor?
Bro, you sure about this? Sorry for all the worry I've caused you, but you'll be all right now. Is your memory completely returned? Yes, completely. I remember everything, including what I was coming here to do. Right.
Kazuma-sama, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. But how did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia?
It was the voice. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over again. Go to London. That's where your destiny awaits. It was that voice that guided me here to London.
I'm so sorry for what's happened.
Anyway, my memory might have returned to me. There's something that won't return to the way it was before. Huh? What do you mean? I'm a prosecutor now, so I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon. Why would you want to be a prosecutor now that your memory's back? Why don't you want to be a defense lawyer, huh? What's the deal with that? Well, Let's talk about tomorrow's trial. I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. In fact, no, people all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. There's no salvation for anyone in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper, the Bailey, and now the Reaper himself must stand in the dock. Quite so. The public wants answers about the Reaper. Answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths.
But Lord Van Zeeks firmly denies any involvement in such matters.
And you told us that he wasn't involved in such matters before as well. And there have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent. That's certainly true. Or it has been, at least, until now. No, tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history. Talk about Prosecutor Asogi over there. So, Kazuma's gonna be prosecuting tomorrow? That's right.
But he's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart.
Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. And imagine what it will mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense. A devastating combination, wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. I have no doubt at all that Kazuma will be a razor sharp as a prosecutor.
But why Kazuma-sama? There are surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain.
It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial. You asked for this? But why? It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you? Although, the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation.
I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented. Quite exceptional, in fact.
You're quite right, Miss Mikotoba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. Ah. After all, the accused is one of Britain's greatest prosecutors. The pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive it as the judiciary closing ranks. So that's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution? Ryunosuke, let's see how your skills have been honed after practicing law in this land for so many months. Kazuma, I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't gonna end well, my friend. We talk about the killer's gun. Oh yeah, we noticed that there was a gun at the scene of the Inspector Gregson's death. Do you know if it belongs to Lord Van Zeeks? That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene. Well, the thing is, she wasn't sure, so she told me I should ask somebody higher up who might know.
That's right, Mr. Naruhodo. Be direct.
It's certainly a model that's issued to all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes. Which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine.
In that case, it could actually have belonged to the victim.
No, Gregson had his gun on his own person. What about Lord Van Zeeks? He claims it's currently not in his possession. What? According to his story, he lost it. In short, it's more than a little suspicious.
But just because the gun in question is the same type as the defendant's, is no proof that it's actually his.
No, of course not. Nevertheless, the situation is grave for Lord Van Zeeks. Doesn't look like we're going to glean much more here. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart. Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our Empire's history. There's much you could learn from this public gallery. Sorry to have taken up so much of your time. We'll see ourselves out.
Hold it!
What? What do you want?
Before you go, Ryunosuke,
Oh, what is it, Kazuma?
I just wanted to thank you. Asuma-sama, what?
You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my stead. And you carried out my role to perfection.
You always were intent on studying British law in order to change your own justice system. It was your dream, and Mr. Naruhodo didn't want that to die with you.
Yes, but I had another purpose for coming here.
Oh,
I actually have a favor to ask. Which is... This trial I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends. Right in front of me, as the defense counsel. Why? What's this all about? I know you have what it takes. But Lord Van Zeeks would never put his fate in my hands. On the contrary, he recognizes your talent. He does? It's not easy to see behind the facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this. That's Lord Van Zeeks and Lord Van Zeeks and Inspector Gregson, and I think that's his brother, isn't it? His brother who was killed? In a photograph that must have been taken some time ago by the looks of it. Unless that's Strongheart, but I want to say it's probably his brother. And who's the third person? It was displayed very prominently in the detective's office. In Gregson's office, you mean? Yes, what I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you might find that some straight talking makes him take a different view. Take it. An old photographic print displayed rather prominently in Inspector Gregson's office, as if it was a treasured memory. I don't understand. Why are you giving me this? Just hurry, Yunosuke. Visiting hours at the prison are almost over. What are you doing, Kazuma? Is he trying to, like, see, like, pit his current self against, like, his past ideals that we are now representing? Testing himself, maybe? First of November. Local prison. Cell 1. Lord Van Zeeks is still reading that letter.
Been gone quite some time, though.
Either he's an incredibly slow reader, or it's just an incredibly long letter. I might even be able to read English faster than he can. I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn a deaf ear to such an insulting Nipponese. Oh, sorry, I didn't think you'd hear that. I had this case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass the time.
Yes, we heard that your trial is set for tomorrow.
Which is none of your business. So, have you found a lawyer? How many times must I reiterate the same thing? This has nothing to do with you. In other words, no.
We're just talking to Lord Strongheart, and the prosecutor for your trial has been decided.
And expect nothing less. I have no idea who it is. It's gonna be Kazuma Asogi. Asogi? That made the color drain from his face. Well then. Seems I'm gonna have to engage in conversation with you again after all. Good, let's talk. 10 years ago, my older brother, who was the director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from the Far East. Not a single day goes by when I don't curse the name Asogi.
Genshin Asogi was Kazuma-sama's father.
So what a cruel twist of fate it is now, 10 years later. The man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court? I still don't believe why, I still don't understand why Lord Strongheart apprenticed Kazuma to you. It's what he does. No doubt he knew the young man's true identity from the outset.
And what could he have been hoping to achieve?
Let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Kazuma recovered from his amnesia. Why would Lord Strongheart assign this trial to somebody like that? Asogi. That name is the very epitome of my bane. The bane that is you Nipponese. Right, your hatred of all of us Japanese. So let's talk about your racism. I'd only just been appointed as a prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago. My brother Clint, the director of prosecutions, was hunting down a mass murderer. The so-called professor. Assigned to the investigation as his partner was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard. And that was Genshin Asogi? Exactly. I developed a deep respect for the man. He seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man. So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, people I believed in, any semblance of right prevailing over wrong.
Oh, how awful.
To avenge my brother, I prosecuted in Asogi's trial. Wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleaguered the ascribed prosecutor until he consented.
What do you mean by the ascribed prosecutor?
The man in charge of the professor case inquiry, Lord Mael Strongheart. Wait, what? Lord Strongheart is a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the trial to me and act as my advisor instead. Since that time, he's the one person to whom I felt indebted.
Sure, you must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor.
Anyway, time passed, but then earlier this year, who should arrive in London but you? And of all things, as a lawyer. I felt your animosity the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom. Your obvious deep loathing of us Japanese. Kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, that hatred had festered inside me. I could no longer control it. And I can understand why, now I know the history. A little messed up, though. Still, yeah, like, pretty messed up. Pretty darn messed up, but... I can see why you got there, but you need to get off that path. In the same way that I've long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life. To Kazuma Sogi, I am the bane of his. The Reaper who sent his father to the gallows. He's looking for revenge, and he intends to take it in court tomorrow. Let's talk about Inspector Gregson. Gregson's transfer to the Paris Police Prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month. But he'll never make it to France now. It's a tragedy. Oh yeah, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he? I forgot about that.
I wonder, does it happen often? Being transferred internationally, I mean.
It's the first time I've ever encountered it.
Oh.
The Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable. I can't imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked to put that arrangement in place. It sounds like that mystery has even the Reaper perplexed.
Afraid to say that we were very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was considered something of a legend at Scotland Yard.
Again, it was 10 years ago that he first made a name for himself, by uncovering a decisive piece of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's singular approach to the case, the discovery would never have been made. What sort of approach? After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy.
Oh my, 10 years ago?
Oh yeah, that was like really unprecedented back then, wasn't it? Why is that so surprising? Was this not a thing that they did? Autopsy was considered a desecration of the body at the time and rarely performed. And my brother was of course a noble. That made the idea of it even more unthinkable. But something Gregson had dug up in his investigations made him determined it was necessary. His powerful convictions somehow influenced the House of Lords, and as a result, I could avenge my brother's death. So, you must have had great confidence in the inspector's abilities then.
And it's even more inconceivable that you would have taken his life.
I don't have confidence in anyone.
Oh.
I'm sure Gregson felt the same way. No doubt he thought of me only as the ominous Reaper, just like the rest of London. No, he had a lot of respect for you, from what we were told. What really went on between Lord Van Zieks and Gregson, I wonder? What was the true nature of the relationship? Let's talk about your gun. About the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene. Yes, that's not mine. Really? Because common opinion seems to be that it is. What do you expect me to say to that? What happened to yours? How'd you lose it?
Lord Strongheart informs us that you claim to have misplaced your firearm.
As embarrassing as that is, I'm afraid it's true. When did you lose it then? That, I don't know.
Oh.
I was issued with a revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago. Must have stowed it somewhere, I suppose. Or left it somewhere, perhaps.
You have something in common with Lord Van Zieks after all, Mr. Naruhodo. Count for misplacing things.
Hey, no. This has nothing to do with me. Don't drag me into this. Don't make the mistake of associating me with this Nipponese.
Oh dear. The rift is very wide, isn't it?
That's not a decisive evidence, clearly. But it doesn't look good, that's for sure. I'll show you this. Lord Van Zeeks, we came by this old photograph. Where did you get that? It was taken when I became a qualified prosecutor. It's almost unbelievable. I assumed it was long lost. Is the man on the left there? Yes, that's my brother, Clint. Okay, that's Clint. It had to be, really. Apparently, this picture was prominently displayed in Gregson's office. He had a deep respect for you, you know. Were you aware of that? Respect? That's nonsense. Now, we've heard someone attest to it very clearly. Inspector Gina Lestrade, no less. Well, maybe once, yes. There's a time when things were like that. We're brothers in arms, jovially discussing the future of justice and other such lofty subject matter. That was a nice glimpse of the past. Thank you. I feel as though I got a nice glimpse of the past then, too. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes, a brief twinkle. An insight into the true nature of this man known to all as the Stone Cold Reaper of the Bailey. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, that's the first time he's ever used my actual name. I've lost all confidence in my country's justice system. I don't trust the police, judiciary, or lawyers. There's still one thing I'm willing to believe in. What's that? That which you see in the eyes of another across the courtroom. A simple determination to know the truth. Lord Van Zeeks. And the very first time we clashed in the Bailey almost a year ago now, I couldn't deny it even though I dearly wished I could. Here is a loathsome Nipponese who has absolute integrity as a lawyer. There are only two other men I've known with that same look in their eyes. My brother, Clint, and Genshin Asogi. Oh. The man he idolized and the man who betrayed his trust. In the most hideous way. You showed me that photograph just now? It reminded me. You mean this photograph? Back then, I was able to laugh. I was free of the shackles of mistrust that plague me now. I look to the future with hope. Since then, I've protected myself against betrayal by refusing to trust anyone. But at times, the mire into which I've sunk makes it almost impossible to breathe. I'm so sorry. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I want to believe in that look in your eyes. I need to believe in it. Tomorrow's trial. Will you advocate for me? Of course I will. It would be an honor.
I'm so pleased, Mr. Naruhodo.
And my life is in your hands. For Lord Van Zeeks, that must have been an incredibly hard thing to ask. Which is why I simply cannot let the man down. Tomorrow, in the Old Bailey, against my old friend Kazuma. To be continued! Oof. 3.5 hours for this first investigation part. Quite long. Yup, we're saving. Man, that's intense. All right. I think that's where we're going to call it for the evening. We will pick this up next week where we left off with the trial, part 1. Sure, there will be much more. So... Nope, we're not doing more. Hold on, I'm just trying to get to the options menu. And you always do this to me. You just force this on me. Nobody asked for that. Alright. Shit. There we go. Okay. We're gonna call it here. This is where we will stop for the evening. So, thanks all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. This attorney's always fun. It's always a good time. We will continue next week around the same time, probably. I don't know. It's just whenever we are able to start. Next scheduled stream is tomorrow. It will be raid night, but before then, we're probably going to do some other stuff. There's a event in 14 for All Saints Wake that just started. We might try to squeeze in some more Amori. I'm not sure yet. We'll see what happens. We'll see what time I'm able to start tomorrow. I got some errands to do in the morning that I was not able to do today for various reasons. So yeah. See you guys there tomorrow, but if not, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks to all the lurkers, chatters, VoD watchers, everyone who swung by, Darty Linkling, much appreciated. Yeah, have a great rest of your week, everybody. Have a good rest of your weekend, a great night. I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody!